Welcome to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. I'm your host, Shannon Ables, and whether you're listening on your commute, exercising, working in the garden, or sitting down with a hot cup of tea or a café au lait, thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Welcome to the 248th episode of the Simple Sophisticate. Today, we are going to be diving into a French-inspired post because we haven't done one for this entire first part of 2019. And when I came up with this topic for our episode today, I thought, why haven't I done this one so far? This is something that is long overdue. What are we talking about today? Well, I'm going to share with you 12 French or set in France films that I love that have premiered in the last 10 years. So very recent, more modern films. Because as you guys know, there are a ton of fantastic French films out there. But not all of the ones I'm going to share today will be in French, although they all are available in subtitles. Some are English films as well. Now, before I get to that, this week's Petit Plaisir is a business, or a brand, I should say, that makes a quality product that so many of us need to have for our daily routine with regards to our outfit, but also with regards to our work schedule and life schedule. I highly recommend this brand, and I look forward to introducing you to it at the end of today's episode. So stay tuned. But now let's get into today's episode. Over the years here on the podcast, on the blog, I have recommended, reviewed, and shared a long list of French films or films set in France, either as a petit plaisir here on an episode or in the weekly this and that under the Francophiles finds category. And even during the annual The Simply Luxurious Life's French Week, which happens every year in August, at least it has for the last 3 years, and it will continue this August, I'm excited to say. Now, as someone who appreciates simplicity and organization, I realized I didn't have one destination on the blog or the show notes where listeners or readers could find my favorite films that were either in French or set in France or inspired by the French culture. So today, that is exactly what I have done, and I'm excited to share these films with you. Now, understandably, as I mentioned at the top of this episode, there is a multitude of French films from decades past that many people would place on their top list. But I wanted to share films that I have loved that have premiered in the past 10 years. As you will see, most are French films with English subtitles, but there are a few that are American films set in France, and one that I could not help myself to share. It's not French at all. It's not even set in France. It is actually an Italian film, but here's my reasoning for wanting to include it. When I learned about this film, I was actually in New York City's must-visit Forum Films movie theater, the Paris Theater. I've provided a link to that on today's show notes. If you have not gone to this theater, I highly recommend it, and it shows all sorts of foreign films. And the trailer for the film I'm going to talk about today in today's list was something I learned about in that theater. Now, the theater, if you've never been, it's easy to find. It's located adjacent to Saks Fifth Avenue on the south end of Central Park. It is a must go and visit. All of the films that I'm going to talk about today are thoughtful. Some are more comical than others, but each will leave you in a contented mood having finished the film. And some will leave you with a voracious appetite, most for food, some for wine, and others for, well, let's get to my list of 12 French films I love. I want to start with Un peu beaucoup aveuglement. In English, Blind Date. Now, this film was released in France in 2015, and it's a romantic comedy that juxtaposes two tenants who need starkly different things in their lives in order to achieve the goals they have set. One is a pianist. She is working on her craft, she's working on her art, and she's a very light and airy apartment, and her neighbor is into the mathematics and the sciences and the engineering, and it's a darker apartment. They've both gone through different life stories and journeys to get to their point. But needless to say, they definitely need either quiet or calm or time alone, or it is very playful, to say the least. Now, this film was actually episode 130's Petit Plaisir, and you can find my entire full review on that episode. I'll provide a link to the show notes, but here is the trailer.
Salut Tronduc.
Salut gros naze.
Sinon, ta semaine active?
Jeudi, j'ai reçu un coup de fil. Enfin, ça va, c'était une erreur.
Pardon, mais regardez, je crois que vous l'avez un peu égratigné.
Ah si, ils ont essayé de louer l'appart à côté.
Et alors?
Strike, du premier coup, à dégager.
Il y a quelqu'un.
Me péter les doigts, conne.
On a un grave problème d'insonorisation. C'est pas la peine d'essayer d'appeler le syndic. On n'est pas dans le même immeuble. Ça se trouve, on n'est même pas dans le même arrondissement. Alors.
Mais il y a forcément un moyen de s'arranger.
Et c'est pas la peine de vous installer, hein. Vous craquerez avant d'avoir déballé vos cartons.
Tu vas arrêter! Ça casse pas! Ça casse pas!
Ça va être en plastique. C'est ridicule.
Si vous croyez m'avoir comme ça...
Je suis pas particulièrement à l'aise en société.
Non, puis je trouve que c'est fou à quel point les gens ils peuvent être... Je crois que j'ai rencontré quelqu'un. Non!
Et vous êtes comment?
Grande et blonde. Et vous?
J'ai les yeux foncés, type méditerranéen, les cheveux un peu ondulés.
Mais vous êtes chez vous?
Ah non, je suis ici.
Tu t'es fait vachement belle pour dîner avec moi.
Bon, en fait, on est 4.
Bonsoir Charlotte.
Qui me parle?
C'est R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Bah oui.
Je peux vous dire une chose, c'est qu'on se voit mieux sans se voir.
Cette phrase n'a aucun sens.
A little much blindness, or as we like to call, a blind date. This is a playful film, as you hopefully heard in that trailer, and it does have English subtitles. So that is the first film that I highly recommend. It's set in Paris, and it's just a lot of fun. The second film is called Barbeque, which is simply the French translation for barbecue in English. And it is a film that I watched in 2015. I was looking for a lighthearted film, but something also that had some depth, had a story to it. And this film was released in 2014, and it just fit the bill. It's situated the majority of the time in the countryside of the south of France, but also in the city of Lyon. And amongst a group of longtime friends, one suffers a heart attack, only to have it prompt him to question his entire life's approach to living well. You'll enjoy the laughter, the camaraderie, the tears, the frustration, and the ultimate happy ending. This film is available on Netflix right now. So here is the trailer, just in case you are curious.
Antoine, on part à l'abbaye.
À l'abbaye? Mais quelle... Oh, mais non, mais on est bien, là.
Ouais, on bronze pas dans les abbayes. Remarquez, ils ont toujours très mauvaise mine, les moines. Hein? Ils sont tout ballots.
Les vacances, c'est pas que glander, boire et bouffer.
C'est juste le principe des vacances.
C'est même la définition exacte.
La puissance des piliers. On savait bâtir.
T'as raison, mon chéri.
Vous allez super bien ensemble, tous les deux.
Ah, c'est adorable.
C'est pas très fun votre anniversaire.
With each of the friends in their 40s, late 40s, mid 40s, this is a film about life's journey and figuring out what really matters, but also doing it alongside your friends who've known you for years. So if you're looking for a film in that kind of genre, I think you'll enjoy it immensely. That's number 2, Barbeque. Number 3 is I Am Not an Easy Man. This film was a film I enjoyed watching last year, and I shared it on a weekly This and That post. And it also is on Netflix. And not only will Francophiles appreciate this film, as it is set in Paris and is written in French, so again, you'll find your subtitles, But with all the different awareness right now around the Me Too movement and Time's Up, with regards to women being more aware of equality or lack thereof, the lead role stars a male chauvinist whose life is flipped upside down when, after a concussion, he wakes up in a matriarchal world in which men are inferior to women. This is a satirical plot, and it is certainly an eye-opener to put things into the reverse perspective, and it will hopefully have you laughing, as it did me many different times throughout. It will also give you pause and then recognize how conditioned society has become to accept certain behaviors, roles, and expectations of each gender. Watch it, absorb the message, and then live more consciously, perhaps. I know I was taking serious note of the message in between the various moments of complete and utter laughter. There were some where you wanted to laugh, but you also just wanted to cry because it's just so true to so many different points. The last scene alone was all too real of a wake-up call of where society is and the progress that still needs to be made. So here is the trailer for I Am Not an Easy Man.
Je peux vous proposer un verre? Champagne, jus d'orange?
Vous savez comment on appelle un cocktail à base de champagne et de jus d'orange?
Oui, un mimosa.
Vos lèvres, elles forment un cœur, là. C'est très joli. Et nous, on se revoit quand?
Dans une autre vie.
Salut, Rika.
Salut Damien. Tu veux pas venir prendre un petit apéro là?
Arrête, me tente pas. Coquine. Damien? Ladies! Où sont mes jeans? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ces fringues? Merde.
Bonjour, sexy.
Pourquoi je vous dis qu'il rappelle pas?
Je me suis réveillé un beau matin dans une société aberrante
Je suis dans un univers parallèle.
où les femmes me disaient ce que je devais faire.
Sibylle, oh, ça va? C'est pas fini, là? Non.
On marche sur la tête. Je viens pas de votre monde.
Donc pas grand-chose pour que tous tes projets voient le jour.
Bonjour.
Vous savez comment on appelle un cocktail à base de champagne et de jus d'orange? Un mimosa.
Tu sais quoi? Je me demande si t'as pas un problème hormonal. Mettre un petit complément, là, c'est plus possible.
D'habitude, je fais tout pour me débarrasser des meufs. Mais elle, j'ai une trouille, c'est qu'elle disparaisse.
Imaginez un monde où ce sont les femmes qui se font belles pour moi. C'est moi qui leur fais des compliments.
Quelle horreur!
T'en penses quoi? T'as raison.
So if you do understand French, you'll catch a lot of the clear point of views of the shifting of roles. And again, it is a satire, but the larger point is to point out the conditioning that happens and the ones we may not even be aware of. So watch it with that in mind if you're looking for a film that is culturally timely. That was number 3. Number 4 is a film that came out in 2013, and it's an English film, but it's set in Paris, and it's often called Mr. Morgan's Last Love, or simply Last Love, starring Michael Caine as a bereaved widower who lives in Paris, and he co-stars along French actress Clémence Poésy, a jovial dance instructor, and this film is something that I found to be unexpectedly lovely. The friendship between the two, the unexpected introduction to people that Clémence Poésy's character may not have met had she not met Michael Caine's character. There is great love shared throughout the film, from the love that this retired professor had with his wife, to the current relationship being built of friendship, to the future love that Posésy's character will embark upon. Now, a lot of critics didn't like this film. I did, and I actually shared this film as a petit plaisir in 2014, 2015, and it's based on a French novel, François Dornier's French novel, Le Dossier Assassin. And while the main character in the novel is French, the screenplay was intentionally written for Caine in mind for the part. The title reflects the widower's contemplation with ending his life. And that's where the film begins. But as Posey enters into his life, he begins to change his mind. And so here is the film Last Love, and you get to see parts of Paris, but also Cologne and Brittany, some beautiful places in the French countryside as well. So here is Last Love.
You can miss a single being, even though you're surrounded by countless others. They're an unwelcome distraction. They cloud your vision.
So I'm an unwelcome distraction. I'm a cloud.
You are the only part of my life I haven't figured out yet.
Your hair, it's so like my wife's hair.
Well, I hope you like your wife.
I did. She died 3 years, 2 months, and 11 days ago.
What are you doing with my dad?
I'm not doing anything with him. I'm his friend.
He hasn't told me a word about you.
He hasn't told me a word about you either. I thought you didn't have anyone. You know, like I don't have anyone. And maybe you and I could be family.
You have this fantasy about the perfect family that you never got to have.
You know, if I had a father like Matthew, I would be very happy.
Why? Because he's such a shining example of fatherhood?
That he's still alive.
All I ever wanted for you was to go out in the world, chase your dreams, find adventure, fall in love, take risks.
Why didn't you ever tell me that?
What do you want from me?
I want you to stop acting like you're the only one who lost her.
Sometimes you meet someone who requires all the love you have to give.
You're still here, Matthew. If you want things to be different, you can still change them. It's not too late for that.
And I adored you, but I did not need a teacher. I needed a father.
Please, Matt. I want to go home.
Seriously, Dad, why don't you just move back home?
I stay right here. Don't let her get away.
I won't.
Don't let her run away.
Pauline?
Yes.
Don't let anybody get in your way.
Dad,
What?
stop it.
Okay.
It's a beautiful film. As you can see, there are a lot of different relationships, a lot of different ways that people are handling the grief. I think you will enjoy it. I surely did. And again, the critics did not, but I truly recommend it. So it's called Last Love, and it came out in 2013. All right. Number 5 is going to lighten it up a bit. It's called Sex, Love, and Therapy, also known as Tu veux ou tu veux pas, do you want it or not? And it came out in 2014. Sophie Marceau and Patrick Bruel star in this French romantic comedy about a marriage counselor, Bruel, who is trying to get over his love for sex, also known as a sex addiction, as the movie is going to portray it. But his new assistant, Marceau, is not making it easy, as you might imagine. Here is the trailer.
Ah bah merde alors. Ton licenciement, c'était encore du cul?
T'as vraiment l'esprit mal placé. Les relations sexuelles ont toujours été désintéressées. Le seul avec qui j'aurais pu coucher utile, c'est vous. J'aurais peut-être dû.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Lambert. J'étais un dépendant sexuel.
Et il est abstinent depuis 10 mois.
3 semaines et 2 jours.
Il est temps que tu reprennes le contact en douceur avec une femme. Mais attention, rien pendant les premières semaines, c'est comme après un régime.
Je peux vous baiser? Enfin, je peux vous aimer? Pardon.
Tu veux ou tu veux pas? J'ai rendez-vous pour un travail. Si j'arrive en boitant, ça la fout mal, non?
Vous venez pour le remplacement?
Si tu veux.
Alors, t'as trouvé une remplaçante? Elle est compétente?
J'ai accumulé beaucoup d'expérience.
Ici, on ne reçoit que des couples. C'est pour ça qu'on travaille en duo.
Moi aussi, j'ai beaucoup travaillé en duo avec des hommes.
C'est arrivé une fois, qu'une seule fois.
Mais évidemment, tu n'as qu'une secrétaire. Mais à part ça, vous faites l'amour? Tous les jours, toutes les semaines, tous les mois, tous les ans?
Judith.
C'est le Graal, cette fille.
Elle est dangereuse. Votre bas est en train de filer.
C'est pour vous indiquer le chemin.
Elle revient à la charge sans arrêt, elle est prête à tout. C'est moi avant, en fille.
Ah, parce que vous, le cul, ça vous plaît pas?
Non, l'enjeu majeur, c'est le temps de la parole, de l'échange. Je peux la baiser une fois. Pas d'échange physique.
Quand j'ai bu, je fais n'importe quoi. Je saute sur n'importe qui.
Merci. Franchement, les coups d'un soir ne m'intéressent pas.
Ah non, mais moi non plus. Plusieurs coups, plusieurs soirs. C'est mieux.
So if you were listening in French, you know that there were a few cuss words in that. So it is definitely a playful banter between the two, back and forth, trying to abstain from actually taking their affection or interest or lust for each other to the physical stages. And that tension is definitely reflected in the film in a good way, and it's fun to watch. So that is number 5, Sex, Love, and Therapy. Number 6 is a film I recently watched, and I read about it in a review in the Wall Street Journal as this French film was called Back to Burgundy. So we're out in wine country in Burgundy, and it is something I immediately put on my watch list, and it finally became available. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free. So find it on Amazon. And it's centered around a family vineyard and the dilemma of what to do when the patriarch passes. The 3 children, they're adults, they come together. One has been traveling all over the world. The oldest, he's been traveling all over the world, and he currently has a family or a relationship and a young son in Australia. He comes back after having been gone for 10 years with a tough relationship that he had with his father. And it's a beautifully told film with regards to their relationship with each other, the children and the siblings, but also with their father. And so you have some short little flashbacks throughout the film. And there's nothing too tragic about it because you don't get attached to the father. They never show the father's face. So it's strictly from the perspective of the children, which I think is unique. And I think, obviously, if we see the father, we become attached, or at least we have a specific image in our minds. We do see the father when he's younger and raising his kids, but we don't see him when he's older. And it begins when he has passed away. And so you're going to not only go through the film trying to figure out with them what they're going to do with the vineyard because they can't afford the taxes, if they're going to sell part of it to the older brother who doesn't want to stay there anymore because he's so frustrated with the relationship that he had with his father. But you're also going to see beautiful cinematography of this wine region, and you'll see the vineyard in all 4 seasons. You'll see the basics of running a vineyard and just the different processes that happen. It's a lot of fun to watch, and nothing too dark, nothing too dramatic. But it's more realistic, I think, of the stresses that any family would have to go through with such a big decision to make about a domain, a vineyard that has been in the family for their childhood, and now it is their responsibility to do what they can with it. So the ending I won't tell you what it is, but the ending, I have a feeling, will be satisfying. So here is the trailer to Back to Burgundy, again, which came out last year.
Quand j'étais petit, tous les matins, je regardais par la fenêtre et je me disais, tous les matins, ça change. Mais plus tard, j'ai compris qu'ici, rien ne changeait jamais. Et j'ai eu envie de faire le tour du monde. Et voilà, et j'ai fait le tour du monde.
Eh ben, te voilà, toi.
Ben, moi, je fais du vin.
Il coûte bien, là, déjà, non? D'abord, t'es feuilles un peu, d'accord? Lève les feuilles, là, pour voir plus clair.
Ça fait 2 ans que je suis à plein temps avec papa, mais ça fait 4 mois qu'il est à l'hôpital.
On venait de se rendre compte qu'en plus de la perte de notre père, on avait encore beaucoup à perdre.
Tu vas vouloir vendre tes parts de l'héritage, c'est ça?
Je me vois pas vivre ici.
Ça te fait ni chaud ni froid de savoir que tu vas vendre l'endroit où on a grandi, où la terre, le vin, tout le travail de papa et maman.
J'ai une vie ailleurs, c'est tout.
Voilà. Et j'ai fait le tour du monde. Parfois, je me dis que je suis plus parti pour fuir.
Tu voulais fuir quoi?
Mes racines, quoi.
peu spécial pour nous trois cette année parce que les trois on vient de perdre notre papa. Il était revenu.
Pourquoi il va nous... L'amour, c'est comme le vin. Fluto.
The visuals you get in this film is just beautiful. And the relationship between the siblings is a lot of fun and loving and thoughtful. And each child had a different relationship with their father, which I think is quite possibly very true in many ways, based on the different experiences our parents are going through at different points in their life. So again, the film is Back to Burgundy. It was just released last year, and I highly recommend this one as well. Now, I have 6 more films to share with you, but I would like to introduce you to a few sponsors for today's episode. The world's best designers know the secret to creating an unforgettable space is Sora lighting. Sora Radiant LED is uniquely designed with full spectrum technology so you can see every color as nature intended. The same vibrant light found in many of the world's great spaces can now light your home. Improving your space doesn't have to be a big home improvement project. It's as easy as changing a light bulb. Most LED bulbs have color gaps and leave your space looking washed out and artificial. Sora Radiant is the only LED designed with full spectrum color technology to eliminate the color gaps. It makes colors and skin tones look vibrant and real, the same as in natural sunlight. Ditch your old bulbs and make your space look its best and most natural with Sora Radiant. Having had the opportunity to use and have in my home the Sora Radiant light bulbs, I can attest the natural light it creates is much appreciated, as I too want to create that warm, more welcoming environment in my home. And Sora lights certainly do just that. Now, as a Simple Sophisticate listener, you will have the opportunity to receive 15% off any purchase over $50 when you visit Sora.com/sophisticate. That's SORAA.com/sophisticate. And be sure to enter your promo code Sophisticate at the checkout. Again, that's 15% off any purchase over $50 when you visit Sora.com/sophisticate and use the promo code Sophisticate. Our lives are busy, but we still want our homes to be that welcoming sanctuary no matter when we get to come home and no matter how long we get to stay. All Modern is the destination online where you can find what you're looking for and receive quick shipping. Modern life isn't simple, but a modern home can be, and All Modern is an online-only destination for everything modern and priced for real life. Find the sofa or coffee table you saw on Instagram, but for way less, and get it fast. All Modern is the style you love, the prices you want, when you want it. It's that simple. Having had the opportunity to purchase a mattress as I'm redoing or actually decorating my guest bedroom, I can attest that mattress arrived swiftly, and it was packaged up tightly in a box, and then it became a mattress you would never have expected could fit in that box, and is oh so comfortable at a wonderful price, which makes it even more comfortable. Now, as a Simple Sophisticate listener, you have the opportunity to receive 10% off your first purchase at allmodern.com by using the promo code SIMPLE. That's promo code SIMPLE and receive 10% off your first order. Simply visit allmodern.com. Now, our remaining 6 films are, well, it was hard to put any of these in order, so I actually didn't put them in any particular order, but I want to start off with number 7 because it is a film I have watched many, many, many times, and it was a petit plaisir in episode 160, and it is Paris Can Wait. Yes, this is an American film, and it is the one starring Diane Lane. Paris Can Wait was released in 2017. And it was written and directed and produced by Eleanor Coppola. Yes, that Eleanor Coppola, wife of Francis Ford Coppola, the Godfather series, The Outsiders, etc. For 54 years, she has been married to Francis Ford Coppola. And this film is her first narrative feature film that debuted at the Tribeca Film Festival. But you would not know that it is well done. Now, not all of the critics have loved it. The Boston Globe felt it was strained and relied too heavily on cliches. Even those who thought they would love it came away unsure due to the ambiguous ending, but it is precisely the different approach to making the film that makes it lovely, in my opinion. Coppola has shared that the film's plot was inspired by her own life, and be sure to read the San Francisco Chronicle's interview with her, and I provide a link to that on today's show notes. But not every piece and parcel of the story was true or was directly inspired from that event. She did take some liberties. For example, there was no male companion as she made her way to Paris from the south of France. But along with the struggle that Diane Lane character, Anne, wrestles with is what Coppola herself did as well. The, quote, inner conflict, the push and pull, end quote, that she has felt her whole adult life about pursuing her own creative ambitions while raising 3 children and supporting her husband's career. As well, both women, the character and Coppola, have suffered the loss of a child, which is briefly but touchingly included in the film. Now, some readers have shared with me, as well as on Instagram, that they didn't enjoy the insinuation of infidelity. But I think that may be taking it further than Coppola intended, as nothing occurred, and it merely adoration and a woman, Anne, who was keenly aware and steadfast. What Anne's journey does do for her is awaken her to her strengths, and that is what her companion helps her to realize. Her passions, to realize how talented she is, something that her husband up until then really hadn't been paying attention to, and to the realization, yes, of her imperfect but still very adoring husband. And by not giving viewers the concrete ending that they may have wanted, Coppola does something I applaud her for. She doesn't tell us how to think. As someone who has been immersed in Hollywood due to her husband, then daughter and son's successful involvements in silver screen productions, she doesn't fall prey to the formula, at least the American formula. Maybe France is rubbing off on her because she doesn't have that perfect tied up with a bow ending. Maybe she does have a sequel in mind, but I hope not. And I say that for the best possible reasons, because the film, as she stated, took 6 years to raise funds for, as it was not full of aliens, nobody dies, there are no guns, and no car crashes. Quote, there was nothing that an investor wants to invest in, no sex, no violence. So it took a long time for her to be able to make this film. And that's precisely what I love about it, what isn't there. Rather, it was a piece of her life she wanted to share and explore, and in doing so, she allows the viewers to ponder what we don't often see in movies. A leading female role who is complete all by herself, so long as she embraces her passions, lets herself feel what she feels, appreciates her allure, which may be initially noticed due to her beauty, but is profoundly powerful and substantive due to her intellect and character. And whether or not she remains with her husband, who isn't perfect, or explores her attraction to Jacques, played by Arnaud Viard, who also isn't perfect or ideal either, as the film reveals, this shouldn't be needed for a happy ending. What the happy ending is liberation for Anne, who hears the reminder from Jacques to share her talents with her husband, and perhaps the world if she so chooses, and to savor the pleasures of everyday moments and food without rushing to Paris. I think part of the reason, beyond everything I just shared there, that I also love this film is just the journey you get to go on with her visually. You start in the south of France and you meander your way up to Paris. It's just, again, an escape for the Francophile who wants to travel to France but doesn't have tickets right now. So number 7 is Paris Can Wait. Here is the trailer.
You okay?
Oh, I'll be fine. It's just my ears, you know. I think I should skip Budapest and just go straight to Paris.
I'm driving back now. May I make a suggestion? I'll take care of her.
That's very generous, but are you sure it's okay with you?
So let's pretend we don't know where we're going, or even who we are.
Oh, brother.
Driving is the only way to see a country.
Oh, it's incredible. Turn a little. Oh, yes. Where are you? I'm driving to Paris with one of your dad's business partners.
What up?
So how's Paris?
I'm actually not there yet. Jack wanted to stop for the night.
He what?
Santé.
Don't forget, he's a Frenchman.
Puis tu te le vois et tu vas.
Are you happy?
We have a good marriage.
That's what I asked you. Are you happy? The Rhone River is nearby.
Are we ever going to get to Paris?
There's an excellent museum. You should go and see it.
No, please. We're going to Paris.
Voilà.
Escargot. But I thought we'd be in Paris by now.
Paris can wait.
Look, Fisley. Let's make a little detour.
Who are you? And what have you done with my American friend, always in a hurry to get to Paris?
Okay, Jacques. Straight to Paris now, right?
Along with the fun story, you also get to see some beautiful dishes of food that'll just make your appetite get excited, as well as some wonderful, luxurious but simple, effortless clothing choices for Diane Lane. Now, I have done a post on her outfit as much as I possibly could find the links to the various things that she has, as well as her camera and her tote, and I'll provide a link to that on today's show notes. And I've included some of the music from the soundtrack on the Simply Luxurious Life's French playlist, and I'll provide a link to that on today's show notes as well. All right, moving on to number 8, which is the third and last American film titled My Old Lady. And it's based in Paris. It's a film involving love, unexpected treasures, and a renewal of life. Kevin Kline stars in the directorial debut of Israel Horovitz. Upon arriving from New York, Kline's character is set to liquidate his estranged father's Parisian property, but discovers a refined old lady as the tenant. Now, while waiting to determine how he can acquire his asset, he comes to learn that the old lady, played by none other than Maggie Smith from Downton Abbey fame, and so many other films, but that is the most one people think of her now in, was his father's lover for 50 years, as well as meeting and becoming smitten with the old lady's daughter, played by Kristen Scott Thomas. Here is the trailer of My Old Lady.
My name is Matthias Gold. My parents were wealthy. I was born with a silver knife in my back.
Hello? Oh, God! No, just say frappe.
I think it would be better if you spoke in English.
I inherited this apartment from my father.
This apartment is a viager. The buyer must pay a fee until the seller dies.
Until you die?
Until I die.
French woman can live a long time.
Yes, it's the red wine, isn't it?
Take a walk by the Seine and please don't jump in. You'll probably fail to drown yourself and just end up with a dreadful cold.
Do you have anything for a headache? I used the last cent that I had to get here.
You get to be 57 and have so little to show for it.
Please, don't be subtle with me.
I'm 90. Subtlety is not something that interests me.
Oh!
Chloe is my daughter. She lives here.
What are you doing here?
Has your daughter ever been married?
Do you find my daughter interesting?
Fancy meeting you of all French people.
Vous êtes un imbécile.
I don't speak French, but I get the gist of imbécile.
Vous parlez de me?
I'm looking to sell. There's only one problem. See that old lady?
This is not good.
She's 90.
Not so bad.
If we don't receive our money, our lawyers will have your contract made null and void. Jean.
Did I see nothing catastrophic in the two of you comforting each other?
I have spent my whole life at your side. I have never left you.
I never asked for that.
I don't have a friend in the world. Except for this apartment, I have nothing.
You have life left. There is no greater wealth.
You're so beautiful.
I'm not beautiful. I'm nearly old.
Perfect flower is nearly old.
Long life.
So many wonderful life lessons to ponder in that. And of course, Kevin Kline is the grouchy gentleman that comes in from the States. But as you probably noticed in the trailer, he begins to soften. All right, that's number 8. Number 9 also includes Kevin Kline, but it's in his first French-speaking role. The movie is called Queen to Play. Now, Queen to Play is the most recent French film that I've shared as a petit plaisir. You may remember I included it in episode 242. And Kevin Kline is in this film. His role is not as large, but it is, again, as I said, his first French-speaking film. It was released in 2011. Sandrine Bonnaire stars as Helene, a wife and mother who is a housemaid not only at a luxury hotel in Corsica, but also for Kevin Kline's character and his home in the country. Now, Helene becomes curious about the game of chess, thus the title Queen to Play, after watching a couple flirtatiously play a game in the hotel where she works. In hopes of bringing sparks to her own marriage, she discovers she has quite the talent for this game, and with the help of Kline giving her practice sessions, she begins to do quite well. And that is what I think you'll find, at least this is what I love about French films. And in many ways, the ending isn't there's not a specific ending that happens every single time. Things aren't wrapped up neatly in the bow. Now, nothing bad or horrific happens in this film per se, but the ending leaves something to your imagination in a very good way. Here is the trailer for Queen to Play.
Jouer? Non.
Je ne vous réveille pas au moins.
Vous voulez bien jouer avec moi?
On a une heure. Vous avez l'intention de la passer debout?
C'était ouf. On s'inquiétait, on a appelé partout.
Tu me dis que j'ai changé, mais c'est pas moi qui ai changé, maman. C'est toi.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe depuis quelque temps?
Tu sais comment on t'appelle en ville? La folle des échecs.
J'ai pas envie de finir comme toi.
J'essaye de comprendre.
Il n'y a rien à comprendre.
Pourquoi c'est si important pour vous?
Je sais pas.
Il faut que tu voles de tes propres ailes.
Je viens pour le tournoi.
Et vous êtes classé?
Non. Échec et mat.
Kline's character truly becomes the coach, the supporter, and one of those lines you may have recognized him say, it's time for you to spread your wings. And he really nudges her to step beyond her comfort zone and see what she's capable of, which I find to be quite beautiful. So that's number 9, Queen to Play. Number 10 is the one film that's not French, but it's that film that I mentioned that I learned about at the Paris Theater in New York City. And I think it goes along well with the different themes throughout this list. I want to begin with a quote that I adore deeply, and I've actually included this quote in my new book. Here is a quote from A 5-Star Life. Did it meet your expectations? Even if you have felt at times uncomfortable or lonely, you're still in time to choose, in the future, a more comfortable and protected solution, maybe more suitable to the needs of a family. It is well to keep in mind, however, the happiness and well-being and strictly personal concepts. For some people, the sense of freedom and adventure is an essential part of the experience. Trust your instinct. This is your journey. The route to take is up to you. Have a safe journey. Now, upon watching the foreign film A 5-Star Life, the ending will be an untraditional jolt to an American audience, as it will deign to allow the heroine to journey into the credits in absolute contentment with her own company. The quote that I just shared is stated by Irene, the main character, just as this last scene unfolds. I couldn't help but realize that Irene epitomizes self-actualization. Why, you may ask? Does one have to journey through life alone in order to be self-actualized? Well, absolutely not. But what Irene exhibits is the knowledge of herself and the world around her. She is not limited by what society purports to define as a happy life, but rather investigates and discovers what happiness is indeed for her, while accepting that others may, and many do, have a different definition. Now, as I mentioned, the language is in Italian. It does have English subtitles, but I love the premise of the film. Quote, "Real luxury is the pleasure of real life, lived to the fullest, full of imperfections." It is truly wonderful. Here is the trailer.
Il lavoro dell'ispettore in incognito comincia dall'ingresso in albergo. Morning? Morning. Ha sorriso? L'impiegato aveva un'uniforme pulita e stirata? Era un 5 stelle, un hotel fuori dal comune.
Buongiorno signora Lorenzi, sono le 8 del mattino e la temperatura esterna è di 18 gradi.
Questo lavoro è per gente che non deve avere problemi di disponibilità, di mariti, di figli, di fidanzate.
Sì, ho capito. Sono il tuo ispettore ideale perché non ho una vita. Ma lo sai che in fondo noi facciamo un lavoro molto simile?
Sì, solo che io sto sempre qua e tu dall'altra parte del mondo.
Guarda che per costruire un rapporto profondo ci vuole molto, ma molto più impegno di quello che ci metti tu.
All this display of opulence is just a stage set. Real luxury is the pleasure of a real life, lived to the full and full of imperfections.
Adesso che state per lasciare l'ambiente in cui avete soggiornato, prendetevi qualche secondo per ragionare su questa esperienza. Fidatevi del vostro istinto. Questo viaggio è il vostro. Sta a voi scegliere come farlo.
This film will remind you to trust your instincts, to trust your journey. And as a luxury critic for hotels, the main character travels around the world. So if you are someone who loves to travel or is not able to travel right now, this film will enable you to do so and maybe spark an idea of where you want to go next. But yeah, it's a reminder to truly trust your inner compass and to celebrate everyone else's journeys that are probably and are uniquely different for them, but at the same time honor that you may have your own journey to follow that doesn't quite look like everyone else's, and that is just perfectly fine. So that's number 10, A 5-Star Life. Now, number 11 and 12, as we wrap up here, I'm going to warn you right now, they're going to make your mouth water and your appetite perk up. Oh my goodness. Are you ready? Number 11 is all about Haute Cuisine and France, and it's a beautiful pairing indeed because they come together for a light-hearted comedy starring Jean Reno and Michael Young in Le Chef. It's written and directed by Daniel Cohen. A young, self-taught chef is played by Young and is far from lucky in his pursuit of professional success and happens on a star chef, Reno, who is in danger of losing his reputation and his restaurant. The two come together to help themselves, but end up helping each other along the way. This film was released in 2012, and here is the trailer.
J'ai fait mon premier poulet basquez à 4 ans, mon premier soufflé à 5. Ma puissance culinaire est sans limite.
Tu sais, mon gars, ici, c'est un restaurant de routier. Alors, on fait surtout du steak frites, des saucisses frites et de l'andouillette frites.
Bonjour, chef. Non, ça va pas. On peut pas présenter ça à la carte du printemps. J'ai plus d'idées comme avant.
Attends, c'est le 4e restaurant qui te vire ce mois-ci?
Ils comprennent rien à ce que je fais. Rien.
Incroyable. Qui a fait ça?
Tu vois le peintre là-bas?
Le peintre? Demain 8h au cargo. Vous êtes en retard.
Oui, 8h02.
C'est bien ce que je dis, vous êtes en retard.
Et on va où, là?
Sur le plateau télé, on va faire mon émission.
C'est quand même bien meilleur sans ciboulette ni dents.
Ta gueule.
La création ici, c'est moi. Bah, au revoir, monsieur Lagarde.
Si tu
perds une étoile, ton contrat il saute.
Je suis cuit.
Je sais, je connais quelqu'un.
Goûtez.
On arrête de mâcher quand?
Continuez à manger.
Et Cyril Boss, pourquoi est-ce qu'on n'irait pas manger dans son restaurant?
Mais tout le monde me connaît.
Konnichiwa.
Un spaghetti au riz de veau. J'ai fait un rapprochement entre un plat d'Alexandre d'aujourd'hui et une sauce d'Alexandre d'hier.
Oui, bien, Alexandre vous dit de ne plus faire de rapprochement entre Alexandre et Alexandre.
Et je sais quand même comment Alexandre travaille.
Mais Alexandre, c'est moi!
Et alors? Je vois pas le rapport.
So as you can see, a lot of tension, but it works out for both of them in the end. So if you're looking for a comedy, looking for food, looking for Paris, this is the film for you, Le Chef. Now, the last film is Le Sauvet du Palais, and it is a story based on the real-life case of Daniel Delpouche, a lesser-known provincial chef and restaurant owner who, in the late 1980s, was summoned by then-President François Mitterrand to be his personal chef at his official residence, Élysée Palais. Now, Catherine Frot stars as Hortense, the chef chosen by the French president. And interestingly enough, the man who plays the president is not an actor. Jean de Ormesson plays Mitterrand. And if you're French, you probably got a kick out of this. Now, I didn't know anything until I looked it up. But this gentleman is actually a writer and a journalist. And during Mitterrand's career, so he's 87 when this film comes out, and he stars as Mitterrand. But during Mitterrand's career, he was a writer and a journalist who was one of Mitterrand's toughest adversaries. So there's a little bit of irony and a playful choice of roles in this film as well. But back to the film, based on Mitterrand's choice for his chef, the president prefers the traditional cuisine from his childhood and finds Hortense to be the chef that he is looking for, to the chagrin of the rest of the cooking staff. That is where the tension comes from. So if you are interested in this film, you will need to come either with a full stomach because your taste buds are going to be tempted throughout, or perhaps come with an appetite and make sure you have reservations at a delectable French restaurant or somewhere else you cannot wait to go after you finish the film. Here is the trailer for the film.
C'est lui le haut fonctionnaire qui a besoin d'une cuisinière?
Ça, je peux pas vous dire.
Je vais pas aller par quatre chemins. Le président de la République serait très heureux si vous acceptiez de vous occuper des cuisines privées de l'Élysée.
Je suis pas sûre d'être à la hauteur, vous voyez.
Le président pense le contraire.
Les gens que vous croisez, vous les saluez, tous.
Madame.
Monsieur.
Je vais vous présenter Monsieur Le Pic, notre chef de cuisine. Non, écoutez, on voit les présentations plus complètes une autre fois.
Cuisine privée de la présidence de la République, j'écoute. Nous allons commencer par une brouillade de cèpe au cerfeuil.
J'ai besoin de retrouver le goût des choses.
Un filet de bœuf en croûte de sel.
Mais qu'est-ce qu'ils peuvent bien se raconter?
Et le bœuf de Coutancy, vous connaissez. Tarte pâtissière aux fruits rouges.
C'est moi le dessert. Vous, c'est entrée, plat, fromage.
Château Rayas 1969. Vous savez s'il a fini son chou?
Il l'a mangé avec plaisir.
Parfait.
Un bon point pour lui.
On peut garder ce président à l'Élysée.
2 petits pâtés de foie gras et j'emmerde la diététicienne.
On nous fait des misères ces temps-ci. À moi aussi.
Tout ce travail a un coût.
Mais c'est beaucoup trop.
Si vous ne m'aimez pas, je ne vous aime pas non plus.
Je vous parlerai pendant des heures de cuisine. Je finis par me demander si ça ne vaudrait pas mieux que de m'occuper de politique.
So as you can probably sense there's a bit of tension in the kitchen when she comes to work for the president. But the president absolutely adores her food. And the video shots of the dishes will just, that's reason enough to watch the film. But it is a wonderful story based on real life. So those are the 12 films, and I do hope that you've discovered a film that tickles your curiosity or perhaps one that you would like to watch again. I know I was reminded of a few that I want to go back and revisit. There is something, I think, for me anyway, about watching a film that enables you to slip away virtually to another part of the world that truly offers a respite from whatever is going on in your life. And then when we add the necessary requisite of paying attention to the subtitles, our full attention is captured. Before long, if you're like me, you'll begin to hear the language more than you knew you could and not look at the subtitles as often. I still look at them 90% of the time, but every once in a while I realize, oh my gosh, I know what they just said there. So I wish you happy viewing. You can find all of the links to these films, where to find them, all the different links that we mentioned in the show notes, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast 248. And now before I get to this week's petit plaisir, I just want to share a quick reminder that next Monday, there will not be a podcast episode, as that is not on our regular schedule. I will return with a new episode on Monday, March 4th. We'll do 3 episodes in March for the first 3 Mondays of March. And I've also included, as a reminder, the schedule for the 5th season, which began in September and runs through August. That's on today's show notes if you want to check that out. But our next new episode will be Monday, March 4th. All right, I'll be right back with this week's petit plaisir. And before I get to that, I'd like to introduce you to a few more sponsors for today's episode. HelloFresh is a meal kit delivery service that shops, plans, and delivers step-by-step recipes and pre-measured ingredients so you can just cook, eat, and enjoy. Choose from 3 different plans: classic, veggie, and family. Each week, there's a 20-minute meal on the classic menu for when you really just don't have more time than that. Look forward to your HelloFresh delivery knowing dinner just got that much easier. And their global eats options brings authentic international dishes and flavors to home cooks for exciting new meals. With lots of one-pot recipes for seriously speedy cooking and minimal cleanup, you won't spend all night in a kitchen because recipes only take about 30 minutes. Spend less time meal planning and grocery shopping each week and get that time back to do more of what you love. Get delicious, filling meals delivered right to your door every week for less than $10 per serving and free shipping. Having had the opportunity to cook with HelloFresh, I can attest the meals are delicious and they can easily be made in under 30 minutes. And the visual diagrams they give you and steps help make it so simple to do. As a Simple Sophisticate listener, for a total of $60 off, that's $20 off your first 3 boxes, visit HelloFresh.com/sophisticate60 and enter Sophisticate60 to receive that $60 off. Again, visit HelloFresh.com/sophisticate60 and enter Sophisticate60 to earn $60 off. That's $20 off your first 3 boxes. Do you love discovering new products? Are you a beauty and fashion maven constantly on the hunt for the next best thing? Ever read about or spot something online that you've always wanted to try but never have? Then you must try FabFitFun. FabFitFun allows women everywhere to discover new products as well as including rave review must-have brands that you know and love. Now, having received their spring box, which is the box that you can order, I received a handful of products, but the 2 that really captured my attention were the 3 mini ceramic prep bowls from Pier 1, so a business, a company that I have shopped at many times before, as well as a beauty item from African Botanics, their botanical hand cream. Both brands I trust with products that I can use in my life. FabFitFun is a seasonal subscription box delivered 4 times a year with full-size beauty, fashion, home, fitness, and wellness product for just $49.99 a box. Now, the best thing about this is you get full-size products, no samples of anything. It's a fantastic value. Many of the products' individual value is more than the entire cost of the box. As a Simple Sophisticate listener, sign up for FabFitFun today. Their boxes always do sell out, and their spring box is on sale now. Use code SIMPLE to get $10 off your first box. Go to fabfitfun.com to sign up and start getting the box for a life well lived. Again, that's promo code SIMPLE to get $10 off your first box. That's over $200 for only $39.99. Go to fabfitfun.com and use promo code SIMPLE to get $10 off your first FabFitFun box. This week's Petit Plaisir is a company that makes leather and canvas totes. Quality leather, you can monogram them to your taste, but these are classic tote bags. You also have vintage totes, that classic leather style. They have pockets inside of them. It's all from WP Standard. Now, this company was founded by Ryan Barr, who is from the United States, and Their goods are items that will be in your life for years. Durable, long-lasting, and timeless. Their messenger bag is one bag that always catches my attention. So if you're looking for a tote that works for functions for work with regards to holding a lot of files, maybe your laptop, iPad, things like that, do be sure to check out their messenger bag. That's the one that catches my attention. There are often 3 different colors you can choose from, 2 different shades of brown and then black as well. But they also have wallets and belts and other accessories. But definitely, if you're looking for a quality tote, as I shared last January in an Ask Shannon episode, this is a brand I trust. Having had the opportunity to speak with the owner, I highly recommend checking them out. These are quality handmade leather goods that will last. That's WP Standard, and you can find the link to the business on the show notes to simplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast 248. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Petit Plaisir, where each week ideas are shared to make the everyday all the more enjoyable. Tune in at the end of each Monday's podcast, where I'll recommend a book, a film, or a recipe. Anything that is a simple pleasure to satiate your sophisticated taste. Thank you for tuning in today. Again, just as a reminder, next Monday there will not be a new episode, but there will be a new post to kick off your week, so a Monday motivational post. And then the next new episode will come back on Monday, March 4th. I've included the entire schedule for Season 5 on the show notes if you want to check it out. Wishing you a wonderful week, and thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. For more ideas and inspiration throughout the week, visit the blog, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com, or pick up my new book, Living the Simply Luxurious Life, Making Your Everydays Extraordinary and Discovering Your Best Self. You can also pick up my first book, Choosing the Simply Luxurious Life, A Modern Woman's Guide, which is available now in paperback, ebook, and audio versions on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes, or wherever books are sold. To stay caught up on the most recent episodes of the podcast, blog posts, my new cooking show, and receive exclusive news as well as an extra dose of inspiration to jumpstart your weekend, subscribe to the Simply Luxurious Life's weekly newsletter, which arrives in your inbox each Friday to enjoy with a hot cup of tea or a morning cup of coffee. Until next Monday, I'm your host, Shannon Ables. Bonne journée!